Let's open up.
Okay. You ready? We give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Ha, Rakah, Godash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, spreading the good news of the gospel, teaching this truth throughout the earth, and who rule well. Salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing the word to the four corners of the earth in all sincerity and risking their life to do so.
Khan, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel, wa abal babal. So we're going to do this sit down in remembrance of Hanukkah, all right? Or the Feast of Dedication. Let me grab the video Apostle Tahar shared. And it was to remind us of this time where the Israelites, by the power of Yahweh, all right, which Yahweh Shai was with them and leading them by the Spirit into conquering the Greek Empire, okay, which we were able to receive our temple back, get back in our land, and eventually rebuild the temple. And because you got to remember, starting with Alexander the Greek, all right, which went in there after he died, there was 4 generals eventually that were broken up around the Mediterranean Sea that ruled that land. And the one known as Antiochus eventually, which called himself Epiphany, he was in there and he was destroying Israel, which this is in the book of Maccabees. All right. Now, let me pull this up real quick. Explain Hanukkah. No, not like that. Explain Hanukkah according to the Bible. Let's see what they bring up. It says, the Feast of Dedication celebrated by, which they put the false name, the true name is Yahweh Shai, to honor Yahweh's miracle of light and freedom from oppression, which we're in captivity right now under the reincarnation of the Roman Empire, under the Edomites, which were the Greeks. Now they are the Americans, which are the replicas of the Romans, the same people. All right? It says, and commemorating Judah Maccabeus, which he was of the tribe of Judah, meaning he was a so-called black man, and he had brothers, and it started with his father, which you could read about in the book of Maccabees. All right? It says victory over Greeks, and these were the Edomite Greeks, and the miraculous 8 days the temple menorah stayed lit. All right, it's a sign of rededication, which they rededicated the temple, light in darkness, and faithfulness to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, echoing themes of deliverance found throughout Scripture. All right, so let's grab the Feast of Dedication real quick. Let me pull that up. Which we follow Yahweh Shai. He is the foundation that is laid, and you cannot build nothing else but Yahweh Shai. When you're edifying, right, with Yahweh Shai, you build up the church. So the point is, Yahweh Shai kept this holy day, which is known in the New Testament as Feast of Dedication. It says in John 10, verse 22, and it was at Jerusalem the Feast of the Dedication, and it was winter. And Yahweh Shai walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. Then came the Jews round about him, and said unto him, how long dost thou make us to doubt? If thou be the Messiah, tell us plainly. Remember I was telling you that. He pretty much asked him, hey, if you're the Messiah, tell us straight up. Because he spoke in parables,
Mm-hmm.
right? It says, Yahushua answered them, I told you, and ye believe not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear me witness of me. See, so us prophesying, these are the works of the Father through the Son by the Holy Spirit through men. Though we're mortal, we have earthen vessels, all right? We have this treasure of prophecy, and we're men, Israelite men. But the world doesn't receive it as being from heaven. They receive it as nothing because we're considered poor men. And it says the wisdom of a poor man isn't valued. But if a rich man told you, even though he stole everything to get his wealth, you would believe him. That's why the world's wicked. All right? It says, right, like with this Nero, he's a rich man, but he's a criminal,
Mm-hmm.
right? He has the record. He has a worse record than most Jake in prison. You see what I'm saying? So why is this man ruling the so-called, and I say so-called, free world under the so-called white race, which is not free? You're a prisoner. That's why they want to take away your so-called civil rights. That's why they want to pretty much put a microchip in you so they could track your whereabouts. All right, because these are the Edomites that were in the past, the Greeks and the Romans, and they brought hell upon our people. All right, but this is the last go around, and the Lord is gonna destroy Esau. Go to 2nd Ezra 12.
Okay.
All right, it's prophesied. It's prophesied in all these scriptures of this time we're living in. All right, but I'm gonna read this, finish this up real quick. It says, verse 26, but ye believe not, because ye are not of my sheep, as I said unto you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. So us remembering the day of Hanukkah, which is really a week, like 8 days, all right, we're doing it because of Yahweh Shai. He did it, and he's our example of how to please the Father, Yahweh. It says, and I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them, the elect, the hopeful elect, out of my hand. And even him going on the cross, it showed how far he went for all the elect, all right, by being crucified, laying down his life, all right. Even for the man on the side which he was crucified, there was one Israelite that believed and one Israelite that didn't. And he went up on that cross, and that man was converted because of him seeing Yahweh Shai, a fellow Israelite, lay his life down, though he was innocent. All right. It says, I and my Father are one. Then the Jews, which were Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, took up stones again to stone him. Yahweh Shai answered them, many good works have I showed you from my Father. Of which of those works do ye stone me? The Jews, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, that were in that land, not all of them, but there was certain sects that did not believe of him, answered him, saying, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, which are saying you're lying, and because thou being a man maketh thyself a god, which he said he was the son of Yahweh, the Messiah. See, he told him, I am the Messiah, but what they want to do when they heard it, they wanted to put him to death.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's not like we're telling you a lie. We're telling you the truth. And what do you want to do to us? You want to murder us. All right. So this is why Yahweh is going to send his son Yahweh Shai, which he is the truth. All right. And many are going to die at his coming. All right. It says, verse 34, Yahweh Shai answered them, is it not written in your law? I said, ye are gods, which we all have this privilege as Israelite men, right? We're adopted in through Yahweh Shai. If he called them gods unto whom the word of Yahweh came to the Israelites, and the scripture cannot be broken, it cannot be changed, say ye of him whom the Father has sanctified and sent into the world, thou blasphemest, because I said I am the son of Yahweh, right? You're calling me a liar? But in the scriptures, it's exactly as he was saying it. So why didn't they understand? It was because they really didn't believe in what was prophesied. Just these 2/3 in this generation, which are the reincarnation of the unbelieving Israelites in prior generations. All right? It says, if I do not the works of my Father, believe me not. But if I do, though ye believe not me, believe the works that ye may know, and believe that the Father is in me, and I in him. Therefore they sought again to take him, but he escaped out of their hand, and went away beyond Jordan into the place where John at first baptized, and there he abode. And many resorted unto him and said, John did no miracle, all right? Because John was what? Just preparing the way, baptizing them, warning them of the Messiah's appearance. But all things that John spake of this man were true, and many Israelites believed on him there. So that he went to where the Israelites that were believing, where John the Baptist was doing the baptisms, preparing the way. Yahweh Shai went there to be with the believing, the ones that were believing. See, that's who this truth is for them that is believing. The unbelieving, the unfaithful are going to be destroyed in their unfaithfulness. The unbelieving are going to be destroyed. All right, but the elect, they're living by faith and believing in Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, and that he's going to deliver us, put us back in that land so that we will eventually be able to be fulfilled. All right, remember, this is what he's promised us since Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which he gave to Israel as a law. All right, but it's a promise of us being in that land. All right, go ahead and get that.
Come on, this is
just to let you know, it was called the Feast of Dedication, but it's also known as Hanukkah. All right, go ahead.
Hanukkah. Okay, Second Ezra chapter 12, verse 1. And it came to pass, while the lion spake these words unto the eagle, I saw.
Which the eagle represented the Roman Empire. This is Ezra's, and he's in Babylon. The Romans weren't around yet. All right, he's in Babylon, which were the Assyrians were ruling. He was literally born in Babylon. All right, and next came the Medes and the Persians, then the Greeks, then the Romans. So he's getting a vision of the future. But even he has a vision of this time. All right, he sees the ancient Roman Empire, all right, with the three-headed eagle. But then he even sees this eagle, the body of this eagle being burned, which is the judgment of this whore. All right, go ahead.
Con. Second Ezra chapter 12, verse 2. And behold, the head that remained and the four wings appeared no more. And the two went unto it and set themselves up to reign. And their kingdom was small and filled of uproar. 3. Second Ezra chapter 12, verse 3. And I saw, and behold, they appeared no more, and the whole body of the eagle was burnt so that the earth was
You hear
in
that?
great fear.
The eagle is burnt. The body of the eagle. What is the symbol of America? The reincarnation of Rome? It's an eagle. All right? Let me pull it up. I know I got a screenshot of it right here. It's an eagle. They used this symbol even back when they were as the Romans and even as Greeks. They used the eagle. All right? So it's saying the body of the eagle, the later part, because the head is born first, the later generations are going to suffer a great judgment where it's going to be burnt, which is this system that you're in now in America. Revelation 17 verse, let me just start at verse 1. It says, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore, which is America, which is going to lose World War III and become a lake of fire, that sitteth upon many waters. They control the UN. And also it's known as a melting pot. Revelation 17 and verse 11, it says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth, and is of the seven, and goeth into perdition. Perdition means destruction. All right? And how is it going to be destroyed? It's going to be burnt. All right? And it's speaking of this system that they have set up, which America is the whore that rides the beast. All right? You got the seven-headed beast, which is the European Union, the 10 horns, the kings of this union, and the teeth of the beast being NATO. All right? But America is the whore that rides that beast. And you even had the leaders of this place tell you it goes back to Rome and Athens just this year. All right? Because they're the Greeks and the Romans. Go ahead.
Con. 2nd Ezra chapter 12, verse 3, continuing, was burnt so that the earth was in great fear.
So that they fear the Lord. Because do they fear the Lord right now? No. They don't fear the Lord. So that's why he's going to do this. So that there is fear in the earth of the Lord. All right. He's going to burn America with he's going to turn it into a lake of fire. The body of the United States. He's going to turn it into a lake of fire. What? How? Nuclear missiles. Who? The allies and the enemies. NATO nations, BRIC nations, UN nations. All right? When? At the return of his son, Yahushua. Who's going to be in there? The heathen and 2/3 reprobate of the nation of Israel, which deny Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushua. Go ahead.
Con. Then awake I out of the trouble and trance of my mind, and from great fear, and said unto my spirit.
Right, so he was having a vision like a dream. All right? Go ahead.
Con. 2nd Ezra chapter 12, verse 4 reads, lo, this hast thou done unto me, in that thou searchest out the ways of the highest.
Right, which he didn't understand it because the Roman Empire didn't exist yet. And the Israelites were in captivity. The Lord told them to what? Submit to Nebuchadnezzar. All right? But in this captivity, the Lord's telling us there's going to come a time where you tell Nero what it is. Isaiah 14. Where we bring this proverb before the king of Babylon that his kingdom is going to come to a grinding stop. Go ahead.
Con. 2nd Ezra chapter 12, verse 5 read, lo, yet am I weary in my mind, and very weak in my spirit, and little strength is there in me for the great fear wherewith I was afflicted this night.
Right, because he saw the nuclear destruction. It was a vision, and it was terrifying. All right? It put fear in him, troubled him at night.
Con.
Go ahead.
Second Ezra chapter 12, verse 6. Therefore will I now beseech the highest that he will comfort me unto the end.
And so what he sent him an angel, which these angels are the Holy Spirit. All right, which there's 7 angels that minister to the 7 churches, which are the elect men. All right, Raphael explains this in Tobit. And here it's Uriel. All right, there's Michael, the angel. Forgive me, that's Satan trying to interfere, but we overcome by Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. All right, go ahead.
Second Ezra chapter 12, verse 7. And I said, Lord, power that bearest rule, if I have found grace before thy sight, and if I am justified with thee before many others, and if my prayers indeed be come up before thy face.
Right, so he's praying to the Lord because it troubled him, and he wanted some kind of understanding of what this meant. All right, which really we have the greatest understanding because we're in the time of it being fulfilled now. That Roman Empire came and fell, but at the end, this Roman Empire was reincarnated, right? The Roman head was wounded unto death, but it was replaced with America, which is the symbol, an eagle. All right, and the prophecy of this wicked kingdom is perdition, destruction.
Con.
And all these countries are calling for its destruction because it's being revealed as the center of wickedness. See? Shoot, what did Putin say? He said, you Americans, hey, we're trying to live peaceful lives and you just want war. You see? And these Americans literally confess it themselves that this is a tax-funded country, which it really ain't. It's paid for by the heathen to enslave the Israelite, but the heathen became enslaved with us in it, just like a prison guard. He has to watch the prisoner for 20 years. He becomes a prisoner himself. Mm-hmm. He does 20 years. So it's the same thing. This was a prison built for the Israelite, but Esau's enslaved himself here. You see? So he's trying to shake from this and bring out that implantable microchip. And while he's doing this, he's causing us to wake up because he's rousing up Jake, because he's persecuting Jake. Why is he doing this? This is the question everybody's asking. Who has the answers? The prophets of the nation of Israel. We're Israelites. All right? They're Edomites. There's enmity between the two nations since the beginning. And it's divine. You can't stop it. You can't change it. You can't alter it. You can't nothing. It's going to play out. And that's why Esau's panicking, because he's all these years been trying to stop it or change it. That's why he talks about time travel, which they can't do. Because they want to go back and alter the past so that they can alter the future. But it can't. It's all according to the word of Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. It's faithful and true. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the Lord's will. He's gonna this is his story. It ain't Esau's story or the two-third Jakes, you know.
They're not in control like they try to say they are.
Yeah.
They play off of chaos. They exploit situations to benefit their fear-mongering.
Right.
You know? Like when there's a bad storm, they'll fucking destroy a levee and let all that water that they store up destroy a city, you know, and say it was unexpected. That's why he's the devil. He's a deceiver. He's an accuser. All right? Like right now with what happened at the Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia. They said that's a small hat community. But look up Pam Bondi right now, because that name is a rare name. It's not, you don't know a lot of people named Bondi. All right? But look that name up. And when you go into Pam Bondi, which is an official under Trump, under Nero, all right, she's pushing executive orders that are against Jake secretly, quietly. But at the same time, you get all these mass shootings that are distracting everybody. which they already came out and said these are the enforcers of the law, because how do they get away? There's so many cameras. Look up all these cities. How many cameras are there in these cities? There's thousands upon thousands of them. And you're telling me this guy just did a thing and got away? You know, or that they were able to go onto that beach? I've been onto beaches before. Usually there's security before you even get to the beach. So how did these men get to the beach with rifles, big ass guns? Because it's a setup to pretty much persecute the Israelite. This is what the Greeks do. Watch the movie Rosewood. The movie Rosewood, it shows an Edomite whore that catches an ass whooping, and instead of telling her husband she's a whore, she freaking blames a Jake man. And I say Jake, the sons of Jacob, a so-called black man. All right? And it's a true story. They freaking slaughtered thousands. They say, they try to say it's only like 10, but when you read the end of the movie, they put up the facts. They said that pretty much there's two different numbers being given by the Edomites and the Jake, the surviving Jake. Because the only ones that survived were children and some adults. Because they had to get on the train and escape at night. Because them Edomites were just going door to door, just slaughtering people on that lie. All right? So that's what they're going to do now. They're going to lie. They're going to accuse. And they're going to use that ability that's given to them through the media, through their witchcraft, to persecute the Israelite. All right? Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. Says 2nd Ezra chapter 12, verse 8, comfort me then, and shew me thy servant the interpretation and plain difference of this fearful vision, that thou mayest perfectly comfort my soul.
Mm-hmm.
2nd Ezra chapter 12, verse 9, for thou hast judged me worthy to shew me the last times.
The last times. So this is the last days now. We're in the last times. All right? So that eagle being burnt, the body of it is representing these last days. Okay? Go ahead.
2nd Ezra chapter 12, verse 10 reads, and he said unto me, this is the interpretation of the vision. 2nd Ezra chapter 12, verse 11, the eagle whom thou sawest come down from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel.
Right, which Yahweh Shai just prophesied of the abomination of desolation, which came as Romans into Jerusalem, and they destroyed it in 70 AD. These were the Greeks in the past, which Daniel even had visions of the kingdom of the Greeks, which came after the Medes and the Persians, which Daniel was one of the Israelites that were taken from Jerusalem into Babylon. So this is why it's a prophecy. They were having visions of kingdoms before they even happened. Like Nebuchadnezzar, his dream of a statue of a man with a golden head, the silver chest, then the what is it? Let me pull it up so I don't butcher it. Nebuchadnezzar's dream, which he seen this also in a dream, and it was the end of his empire. So let me show you the image. All right, it says the golden head, the Assyrian, Babylonian, the silver arms, and the two arms, the Mede and the Persian Empire, the chest. It says, and then the brass thighs, the Greek, the legs of iron, the great Roman Empire. All right, the dragon, which at the bottom, we're at the bottom of it, the 10 toes, which represent those 10 crowns on those 7 heads. All right, and the reason 2 legs is because it's been reincarnated. The Roman Empire, we're in the 2nd leg. All right, because it's been reincarnated. Go ahead, a little more.
Okay. Says second Second Ezra chapter 12, verse 12. But it was not expounded unto him, therefore now I declare it unto thee. Second Ezra chapter 12, verse 13.
This prophet Ezra was getting more information than Daniel got. It wasn't expounded to him, but he's going to tell you more of it. Go ahead.
Second Ezra chapter 12, verse 13. Behold, the day will come that there shall rise up a kingdom upon earth, and it shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it. Second Ezra chapter 12, verse 14 reads, in the same shall 12 kings reign, one after another. Verse 15 reads, whereof the second shall begin to reign and shall have more time than any of the 12. 16, and this do the 12 wings signify which thou sawest. Verse 17, as for the voice which thou heardest.
It's describing the Roman Empire of that eagle. That's what the eagle represented. Was the feathers, each different emperor. Okay, that ruled. Go ahead.
Second Ezra chapter 12, verse 17, as for the voice which thou heardest speak, and that thou sawest not to go out from the heads, but from the midst of the body thereof. This is the interpretation.
Which, what does the eagle represent? Because America is the same image. All right? You got the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. So it goes through the body, which is their Congress, their Senate. All right? Which that's what the Roman Empire had. Before Rome, it was the father and then given to the son, a kingdom. Which Alexander the Greek had no son, so it went to his generals. And then eventually, when they were Romans, they had elections.
Right.
You see? Go ahead.
Just like they do in this government that we
Yeah,
live in.
it's an image. It's literally the same image. You know?
Second Ezra chapter 12, verse 18, that after the time of that kingdom there shall arise great strivings, and it shall stand in peril of failing. Nevertheless, it shall not then fall, but shall be restored again to his beginning. 19. Whereas thou sawest the 8 small under feathers sticking to her wings, this is the interpretation.
Right. So let me read this. I put in 2nd Ezra 12 in AI, I put explain the divine interpretation of Ezra's vision of the apocalyptic eagle, which apocalyptic, when you understand that word, it means the revealing of Yahweh Shai. So at the time of Yahweh Shai's revealing, the Romans were going to be ruling, but today they're known as Americans. All right, which that beast system, those 7 heads, each of those 7 heads were trying to reincarnate the Roman Empire that fell. The Spain, the British, the French. That's why the French have arches just like Rome. All right, they were all in the image of Rome, and now America is the 8th that's going to go into perdition. All right, it says representing oppressive world empires, especially Rome, which is the so-called white race. They're oppressing the world. What are they doing right now? Oppressing the world. They're not just oppressing the Israelites in America. They're oppressing the Israelites in South America. They're oppressing Israelites throughout the whole world. All right? It says, and these other nations, they're confederate with them. They're not fighting them. They're not trying to stop them. They're not even trying to condemn them. They're not bringing out the truth. They're confederate against the truth. All right? It says, and the roaring lion, the Messiah, which he's going to get to, who will ultimately defeat it, offering hope for Yahweh's people amidst suffering and exile by revealing the coming judgment of the wicked, revealing the coming judgment of the wicked, and the salvation of the righteous Israelites through the Messiah's final victory. It emphasizes that Yahweh's chosen remnant of Israel will be preserved and made joyful until the final day of judgment, urging Ezra to record these secrets for the wise. For what generation? This generation. You see? That's why we have the history, so we can know the mystery. Did we get the victory over the Greeks? Yes. Hanukkah. Feast of Dedication. Did we get the victory over the Romans? Yes. Right? Rome fell. So what's going to happen this time? We're going to get the victory. They're going to go into perdition. All right? Go ahead.
2nd Ezra chapter 12 verse 20, that in him there shall arise 8 kings whose time shall be but small and their years swift.
Mm-hmm.
2nd Ezra,
Which is talking about their ruling time. Okay?
2nd Ezra chapter 12 verse 21, and 2 of them shall perish, the middle time approaching, 4 shall be kept until their end begins to approach, but 2 shall be kept unto the end.
Go ahead.
Verse 22, and it reads, and whereas thou sawest 3 beheads resting, this is the interpretation. Verse 23.
Which is representing the ruling party of Rome. All right? Go ahead.
2nd Ezra chapter 12 verse 23, in his last days shall the Most High raise up 3 kingdoms and renew many things therein, and they shall have the dominion of the earth.
Which they rule the world. All right? Which back then the Romans ruled the modern world. You can look up the history. Now let me see. I know I had a picture of it, but it was called those 3 heads back then, which America once again has these 3 heads by the legislative, executive, and judicial.
The Senate?
Yeah, Congress, President, and I can't remember the other part. They call it. It's the judicial though that enforce it. Let me grab this real quick. This image of the. I had it saved. Oh, right here, because it came up just the other day. Right here, it's called the first triumvirate of the Roman Republic. All right. Which the 3 heads was Caesar, Julius Caesar, Marcus. Let me see if I could get them pronounced, because these names are the first tribunal of Caesars. Let me see. Let me see if I can get that word pronounced so it's clear. Triumvirate. All right, which these 3 heads, all right, it says an informal political alliance in 60 BC between Julius Caesar, Pompey the Great, and Marcus Licinius Crassus. Let me see if they can read that out loud. Which Ptolemy, he was one of those Greek generals, which his lineage ruled until eventually Caesar and him went to war. Not Caesar, but Ptolemy eventually lost to Antiochus, And then eventually Caesar, being the first Caesar, though, he was the one that warred in Egypt against the Ptolemy dynasty. Let me see.
Marcus Licinius Crassus.
Marcus Licinius Crassus, which these are the three heads of Rome. All right. So Julius Caesar, a rising military political star seeking greater power, which he started the Roman Empire. Pompey the Great, which represented the Greek Empire. A renowned general needing the Senate to ratify his eastern settlements and reward his veterans, which the Ptolemy was under, they were controlling, once again, Egypt. In fact, you could look it up. One of the Ptolemy sons was the ones they set up as Serapis Christo, which they had a Jesus Christ back then, a false god, an image of the Edomite that they forced everyone to worship, because Esau was sitting on the throne of Egypt, right? Because they conquered Ham. See, Marcus, Rome's wealthiest man seeking political prestige, and financial opportunities. Which you see this happening right now under America. You got the rich, you got the military, and you got these men of having power, these Edomites under the Roman Emperor Nero, right? They're trying to reincarnate Rome again, bringing out that implantable microchip. All right, go ahead, Yukon.
Con. 2 Ezra chapter 12, verse 24 reads, "And of those that dwell therein with much oppression, above all those that were before them, therefore are they called the heads of the eagle."
Right, because they were ruling with oppression. All right, that's what these Nero is doing today, as they did in the past. There ain't nothing new under the sun. The Roman Empire oppressed the people. All right, the English did the same. The British, the French, the Spanish, the Germans, Germanium Major, Germanium Minor. They done the same thing under that symbol, the eagle. All right, go ahead.
2 Ezra chapter 12, verse 25, "For these are they that shall accomplish his wickedness, and that shall finish his last end."
His last end, which we're in the end. So this eagle still exists. It's the Edomite. Once again, who uses that eagle?
Nebuchadnezzar had two.
Who uses that eagle? The United States. Right? Now, let me get this, because I was going to read this a little bit. It's not much. It says lawfare, okay, which you just had that shooting at the Bondi Beach in Sydney. All right? They said it was a small hat place where small hats went on vacation. Now, Bondi, it says right here, this is December 12, 2025, the Bondi Memos, rewriting of domestic terrorism rules. All right, and that's Palm Bondi there. She's part of the Eagle. All right. It says she's part of the Department of Justice. Now I'm going to just jump down. It says what the memo does. The memo begins with the law. It's 18 U.S.C. 523315, defining domestic terrorism as activities that involve acts dangerous to human life that are intended to intimidate or coerce civilians or influence government policy. In principle, the definition covers a wide range of threats. It says, militia plots, conspiracy-driven assassination attempts, ideological motivated mass shootings, and violence tied to fascist protests, which they could throw anyone under that label. It says, in practice, the memo narrows the field to Antifa aligned extremists. It names extreme viewpoints on immigration, radical gender ideology, and anti-American sentiment. See, so if you have an anti-American sentiment, meaning you're not for what they're doing with the immigration and all that, you're considered an enemy of the state under Pam Bondi, all right, which she's, under Nero. And he represent the head of the eagle today, the president, that eagle today, that symbol. When you see that eagle, that represents the president, all right? And the body is what he pretty much enforces the laws that they bring forth, legislative, executive, which he is that executive branch, and then the judicial, which they go to the Supreme Court. And then it trickles down throughout all the court systems. All right? So while they're doing this so-called mass shootings around the world, keeping everybody in fear, they're pushing rules to pretty much enslave you. Which you're already in a prison. You're in a slave ship that was created for the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. All right? But they lost control because the Lord showed us favor and Israel was able to move up. Just like when Rome fell, you had Israelites in positions of great power in their kingdom. So that's what's happening right now. That's why they're trying to get rid of Jake out of the government. They're firing him. They're shutting the system down. They're making it hard for Jake. They're what else they're doing? They're canceling the degrees, right? Because this is what the Esau does. Esau comes through and he purges everything. Watch that movie Rosewood. All right? This is what they did during the time of Nat Turner. They didn't just kill Nat Turner and the ones that were with him. They went through and murdered everybody and brought more slaves in. See, that's what they're intending to do. They're intending to depopulate, murder so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians and replace you with robots. See? And they're doing it through their executive orders.
Did you see that thing about at the airport? They're getting everybody's name.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what,
No matter what. It don't matter. And what did they just pass? They said that pretty much it don't matter if you are a U.S. citizen.
Right.
That your ID could be considered fake. And you could be arrested and held, and who knows what could happen to you. And the Lord knows,
They're going to take them.
But that's what you got to remember. What is Esau? The wicked, they're a sword in the hand of the Lord. A weapon of mass destruction. All right? Go ahead.
Second Ezra chapter 12, verse 26 reads, and whereas thou sawest that the great head appeared no more, it signifieth that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain.
Antiochus Epiphanes. All right? Esau, these Edomites, they get sick. And they die grievous death. All right? Go ahead.
Well, just to look at President Nero. He's, a lot of them, they're, in these videos, they're saying that he's just about to croak,
Yeah. Let's see. I know they'll pull it up. Let's see what Roman emperor died on his bed. 2nd Ezra 12. Because Esau knows too. This AI, like Apostle Lawrence said, you put in there the GMS breakdowns, you get them. All right? Esdras. Vespasian, which Vespasian was the Roman, all right? Because that eagle represents Rome, so it's Vespasian.
Yep.
And it says the text refers to him as the first of the 3 heads of the eagle, which symbolizes the Roman Empire. So the symbol of the Roman Empire, and it's saying Vespasian, all right? But now Antiochus the Greek also died the same way. All right. How did Antiochus die? Disease.
The death of Antiochus depends on which ruler you are asking about. Antiochus III was murdered, while Antiochus IV Epiphanes reportedly died from a severe illness in a foreign land, possibly as punishment for actions against the temple.
See? What? His actions against the temple.
Right.
So who got the victory? It was the Israelite. What did Vespasian do? What did the Roman Emperor Vespasian do?
Vespasian stabilized the Roman Empire after a civil war. He restored the economy, strengthened the military, and began large construction projects, including the Colosseum. He also reformed taxes, improved army discipline, and secured the borders, founding the Flavian dynasty.
Right? Titus sent in to destroy Jerusalem by Vespasian.
Yes, Titus, under his father Emperor Vespasian, besieged and destroyed Jerusalem in 70 CE. This ended the First Jewish-Roman War by burning the Second Temple, fulfilling Roman aims to crush the rebellion.
See? So what happened to both these men? They attacked the temple. And they both died of disease in bed. Right?
God.
So what's happening to Nero right now? They're saying he's diseased.
Mm-hmm.
Got worms in his body. Right? So, and they're persecuting the temple because the temple is the Israelite men that worship Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. We have this treasure in earthen vessels. All right, go ahead.
God. 2 Ezra chapter 12 verse 27. For the two that remain shall be slain with the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 2 Ezra chapter 12 verse 20.
Which we read that these emperors, they get assassinated.
Oh yeah.
Right? They're poisoned. They're diseased.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Even today, they're going after Nero
Mm-hmm.
because you know a lot of his people that because you got the Republicans and the Democrats.
Right,
You know,
the two horns. Yeah.
right.
Now, remember, they said he got hit in the ear,
Yeah.
which, there's no evidence of that.
Yeah.
But that's what they said, that someone of his own people tried to take him out. Well, what about the Captain Kirk?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, right? How did Caesar die? Let's see real quick. How did Caesar die?
Julius Caesar was assassinated by Roman senators on March 15, 44 BC. He was stabbed multiple times, around 23 to 25 times, with daggers in the Senate collapsing near Pompey's statue. Figures like Marcus Junius Brutus and Gaius Cassius Longinus were involved.
See? How did Pompey the Great die?
Pompey the Great was assassinated in Egypt in 48 BCE. He was betrayed and stabbed to death on a boat after being defeated by Julius Caesar.
See?
Egyptian assassins working for Ptolemy XIII killed him, hoping to gain favor with Caesar.
You see? So they're evil men, so they get what they get. It comes back to them. What they sow, they shall reap. The Lord is not mocked. And that's what's going to happen now. They're trying to destroy the temple, the Israelite men. Psalm 83. But the Lord is going to fight for us. We're going to get the victory, just like we got during the Greeks, just like we got during the time of the Romans. The Romans fell. Remember, the Israelites scattered, right? And started lies in different parts of the world, but Rome fell. And what happened? Jake took over Rome. All right? Go ahead.
Oh, they got says you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah, the Lord said that. Yeah.
This is 2 Ezra chapter 12 verse 28 reads for the sword of the one shall devour the other, but at the last shall he fall through the sword himself.
Dang, look at this. Vespasian from 69 to 79 AD died after an attack of diarrhea.
Oh man.
Damn. Look at that. The Lord he got it out for you, Edomites.
Yeah, he's gonna
yeah,
he's gonna do some justice.
yeah.
It says Second Ezra chapter 12 verse 29, and whereas thou sawest two feathers under the wings passing over the head that is on the right side.
So there, once again, the Roman Empire. Go ahead.
Second Ezra chapter 12 verse 30, it signifieth that these are they whom the highest hath kept unto their end. This is the small kingdom and full of trouble, as thou sawest. Verse 31 reads, and the lion whom thou sawest rising up out of the wood and roaring and speaking to the eagle and rebuking her for her unrighteousness with all the words which thou hast heard.
See, so starting with Yahweh Shai, what did he do? He rebuked Rome. You see, and that's why they crucified him, because he was telling the Israelites. All right, and even Apostle Paul, who beheaded him, he was beheaded in Rome, and they said it was for sedition. You see, so what are they going to do here in these last days? They're going to persecute us. All right, and they're going to set it up on a lie. They're going to use false witnesses. They're going to lie. They're going to cause some kind of chaos and then point the finger at the Israelites so that they can persecute us. All right, go ahead.
Second Ezra chapter 12 verse 32, this is the anointed which the highest hath kept for them and for their wickedness unto the end. He shall reprove them and shall upbraid them with their cruelty.
Right, which we're telling them about their wickedness. Go to Isaiah 14.
Isaiah 14.
All right, showing that the Roman Empire, which it went through many emperors, now America, Babylon the Great, all right, which is going to go into perdition. At the same time, the elect, the anointed, are here. You see? And we're doing what Yahweh Shai did in the past, in the time he was on earth. And he told what? To Rome? You ain't got no power over me, but what the power the Lord gives. Because they try, what's his name? Pontius Pilate, the Roman emperor in that area, was trying to say, don't you know under Rome I got the power to put you to death and keep you alive? Which they showed that in that movie Clarence, the Book of Clarence. When, you know, right now, if Jake was to put a sodomite to death, you go before who? A judge of the Roman Empire. And they'll put you to death for doing the laws of the Lord. That's why the Israelites that wanted Yahweh Shai to be crucified, they brought him to Pontius Pilate because they couldn't do things on their own. They were tributaries to Rome. You had to go to Rome and ask for permission, just like now. You got to go to Rome and ask for permission to have a baby. Ask for permission to drive a car. Ask for permission to marry. Ask for permission to go to school. Ask permission to die, to be buried. Because they're ruling over us. Okay, go ahead.
It says Isaiah chapter 14, I think that was verse 1, right? For the Lord Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
Which is talking about the Israelites learning the truth over the internet. And they're going to cleave to the house of Jacob, being Israelites that have faith. All right, and we're in the last days, and that's why this is happening. The Lord, at the same time as Esau is being condemned, he's about to come down with great wrath. The Lord has us running into the name of Yahweh Shai for salvation. We're going to be preserved. That's the prophecy. That's why this is happening. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 2, and it reads, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord Yahweh for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
Right, we're going to get all these heathen as slaves. And you're going to be paid back for what you've done to us all these different generations. All right, go ahead.
And they shall rule over their oppressors.
Right, we're going to rule over their oppressors. All right, our oppressors.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 3. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve.
Which the Lord did in past times. We went to captivity and we were released out of Egypt. We went into Babylon. Right? The Israelites of the northern kingdom were allowed to get out of Babylon and go on Assyrian ships to here to the western hemisphere. That's why we were here. The southern kingdom went into captivity, went through the different stages of captivity under the different nations, and then went back into the promised land. Eventually, we all went into captivity under the Edomite here in Babylon the Great. What's going to happen? We're going to come out of this captivity. And we're going to rule over our oppressors. Go ahead.
Come. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased?
Which is talking about America.
God.
Babylon the Great. It's literally coming to the point where it won't exist no more. Nuclear destruction is going to happen. It's going to lose World War III, according to the prophecies at the return of Yahweh Shai, nuclear destruction. All right? After they make that implantable microchip mandatory for buying and selling.
God. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 5. The Lord Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Verse 6. He says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth.
And none hindereth. All right?
Isaiah chapter 14.
Because Esau, when he gets fucked up, ain't nobody going to stop us. All right? Yahweh Shai is going to be with us. So who's going to save you? Mm-hmm. See, us, we have a promise of a Savior. We have mercy to look forward to. We have hope. But Esau, there's no one going to come to save you. Mm-hmm. When we get you into slavery, it's not going to end till that 1,000 years. See, what happened to your leaders when you persecuted us ain't going to happen to us. You see, we're not going to get diarrhea from oppressing you. Mm. To death, right? He said he had diarrhea. He died from diarrhea.
Yeah.
You see, sick in bed. Why? Because he went against the people of the Lord, the Israelites. That's what's going to happen to the Edomites today. That's why you're a fool, Esau. If you look at the history, you know the mystery. Mm-hmm. You're going to lose, man. Go ahead.
And it's already prophesied that the Lord Yahweh is going to come and destroy Esau. Because
it's happening. Wickedness. It's happening just like it did in the past. Mm-hmm. If you look it up, let me pull it up real quick. Let me Google this. It says Rome and America's fall identical.
While the decline of Rome and America's potential issues aren't exactly the same, many see similar concerns. These include economic inequality, political division, currency problems, growing debt, and a weakening of democratic values. These factors, along with reliance on large military and entitlement programs, can lead to problems.
See? So the same problems ancient Rome had, modern Rome is suffering right now. So it's going to work out the same, all right? Just as it did for the Greeks also in the past. Now I was going to grab this real quick. Maccabees chapter 2, or 2nd Maccabees chapter, I believe it is. Let's see. think it was. Did you have more on there?
I got one scripture here. It says Jeremiah chapter 49. I'll start at verse 7. Reads KJV, concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished?
Go to the KJV on that though.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, is it? Okay.
This is
Because what it's saying is Teman are the Edomite, the so-called Germans, and those were the wise men of Edom, right?
mhm.
They're Einsteins, they're Oppenheimers, right? But the Lord took it from them. Now nuclear knowledge was the highest of their knowledge, nuclear power. Now that they made nuclear weapons, it's over. All right, go ahead.
Okay, this is Jeremiah KJV chapter 49 verse 8.
I
Reads,
thought you were in Obadiah. That's why it sounds a little same thing but different.
yeah, I just went up one up from the verse 8 though. But reading on, it says, Jeremiah 49 verse 8 KJV, flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that the time that I will visit him.
Right, which he's going to visit him in that land, in the land of Israel. All right, and what's going to happen to all his troops? They're going to be melted there. It says dust and smoke. Ezra saw it. Ezra's 13. When he comes to America, what's going to happen to all these people in America? Lake of fire. All right, go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 49 verse 9, if grape gatherers come to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. Verse 10 reads, but I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not.
But he will be, the Edomites are going to be extinct. That's the future of the Edomite.
Come on, yeah. Let's see.
Let me see, I got this one here, Second Maccabees. You can read about it in Second Maccabees chapter 1. The brethren, the Jews that be at Jerusalem and in the land of Judea, wish unto the brethren, the Jews that are throughout Egypt, health and peace. And that shows you that the Israelites were scattered already back then. When Yahushua went back to, when he was born and they were persecuted by Herod the Greek, Yahushua's father, Joseph, and his mother, Mary, went to Egypt. They were there amongst Israelites, which Israelites were dark-skinned people. All right? It says, our power be gracious unto you, and remember his covenant, which Yahweh made a covenant with the Israelites, that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, his faithful servants, which he sealed it with the blood of Yahushua, and give you all an heart, to serve him and do his will, with a good courage and a willing mind, and open your hearts in his law and commandments, and send you peace, and hear your prayers, and be at one with you, and never forsake you in time of trouble. And now we be here praying for you. What time as Demetrius reigned in the 169th year, we the Jews, which was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, wrote unto you in the extremity of trouble that came upon us in those years, from the time that Jason, which this was a wicked Israelite, and his company revolted from the Holy Land and kingdom, which he persecuted the Israelite. That's why it says in the last days there shall be a great insurrection. They're going to use Israelites against us. All right? A lot of these Jake that are in the military, they're gonna get that chip. They're gonna get that what they call super soldier program against us. Get some kind of technology added to them, to where they'll be able to run faster, think faster. All right, so that they could be used as a weapon against us. Shoot, the Edomites are going to use your own family against you. That's why they're going to starve you.
Mm-hmm.
You see, read about the history. When we went into Babylon, all right, the Assyrians, they freaking, with the Ammon and the Edomites, all right, the Japanese and the so-called white race, back then, they took over our water, our spring, and they pretty much stopped the resources to the people. And you could read about it, where they wanted just to give up,
Yeah.
you know?
That happened to another part, but it was I forget that guy, Stalin, I think it was. He did that to the
Yeah.
people.
The one in China, Mao,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're going to do here. They know what, they've ran experiments all over the world doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Starving you out and then making you beg for some resources, all right? Which they're going to tell you that you need to take an implantable microchip. It says in 2 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 8, and burned the porch and shed innocent blood. Then we prayed unto the Lord and were heard. We offered also sacrifices and fine flour and lighted the lamps and set forth the loaves. So they were trying to rebuild the temple, right? And when you go through any of these other times when they were coming out of Babylon, they were trying to go back into the land and rebuild. All right, the book of Ezra, the book of Nehemiah. When you read about Zerubbabel, all right, even the Israelites of the northern kingdom, when they came out of Babylon, they wanted pretty much to go into a land where no man was, so that they could keep the laws of the Lord. All right, because that's the spirit that the Lord puts upon the Israelites, to go back and rebuild. All right, but what happens is Israelites sin. We break the commandment, which brings forth the judgment, and the Lord uses those other nations to punish us. That's why we went into so many slaveries, is because we sinned so much. But through Yahweh Shai, our sins have been forgiven, all right? And so we have remission of sin through Yahweh Shai in this generation, all right? We didn't have that in prior generations before Yahweh Shai's sacrifice, all right? It says, and now see that ye keep the feast of the tabernacles in the month of Caslu. Let's see, let me pull it up so I can say it correctly. Let me put it in here so you can read it. Pronunciation.
How to pronounce Caslu.
Caslu,
Caslu.
right? In the month of Caslu
Caslu.
is in the winter, all right? And we're in that time of the Hanukkah, which we remember the victory that the Lord gave to the Israelites over the Greeks. We remember the victory that the Lord gave over the Romans, that the Israelites had over the Romans, all right? Rome fell. So we must remember that we're going to be delivered from this time of oppression also, as it is prophesied. We have a sure word of prophecy. That one?
Yeah, this is Ezekiel chapter 25, Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 12. It reads, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because that Edom had dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and had greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword.
Which Dedan was in that land, the promised land. Dedan on biblical map. All right.
On a biblical map, Dedan was an ancient city-state in the northwest, near the Al-Ula Oasis. It was a key trading hub, linked to the Dedanites, and known for its trade with Tyre. It's often shown as a significant oasis city, south of Edom.
So when he's saying that, he's talking about that land, but also who's in that land, right? It was the Edomites. Now, back then, it was Ham, but Esau takes on the ways of Ham. That's why on the back of the dollar, they got the Egyptian pyramid. They got the obelisk in all their capitals. All right? Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 14, KJV, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to my anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahweh.
Oh, and it's happened many times. Read the book of Esther. The final chapter, Xerxes, all right, the Persian king, he did a declaration giving the Israelites the right to go through and put to death all these Edomites that persecuted us. See? So we always get the victory. We always get the victory. We never, that's why we're here. What is it? Malachi 3 and 6. Malachi 3 and 6. It says, for I am Yahweh, I change not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. We weren't consumed by the Babylonians. We weren't consumed by the Medes or the Persians, the Greeks or the Romans. All right? The Lord preserved a remnant. Even unto this last day, there's a faithful remnant that exists. Isaiah 59 and 18. According to their deeds, accordingly he will repay fury to his adversaries, recompense to his enemies. To the islands he will repay recompense, which he's going to pay back all these heathen and put them in slavery under us. And we're going to be allowed, as you just read, he's going to use us as a battle axe against these heathen. So shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, the east, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, which they're going to flood against us with troops, these foreign troops. The Spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him, and the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith Yahweh. So he's going to save the remnant of the Israelites that repent in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. As for me, this is my covenant with them, which is a promise, saith Yahweh. My spirit that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, saith Yahweh, from henceforth and forever. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to eliminate us from remembering ourselves. Stop us from calling upon Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai. But the Lord says right here, the promises we'll never forget. All right, Isaiah 58, not 58, 54. And 17, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. And every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, saith Yahweh. All right? So they can't do nothing against the truth, only for the truth. That's why they're persecuting us. That's part of the truth. Matthew 24. It says, verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations of my name's sake. Which all these nations are confederate under the Edomite. All right, which they did back as Greeks and Romans. You got to remember, part of Rome falling was the barbarians, which was a mix of people, all right, that were against Rome. Because when the Greeks went in that land, and then the Romans, they had to fight the Japheth, which Japheth was the people that were in that land. They were the original Greeks and Romans. And then when they got that, they were able to go against the Israelites. You see? And the Israelites, you had Israelites that were with the wickedness, and there was Israelites that were with the Lord. All right? And that's the same right now. It says, they shall deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another, which they're going to destroy each other in World War III. All right, this is a sure word of prophecy. Let me explain the transition from Greek to Roman rule.
The shift from Greek to Roman rule was gradual, starting with Rome conquering Macedon. This process continued with the Battle of Corinth and the annexation of Egypt, ending Greek political independence. Rome later consolidated political control, but culturally, it embraced Greek ideas, creating a dominant Greco-Roman culture.
See, and that's what a Greco-Roman culture, because you had Greeks and Romans together, like Herod, and then that was the Greeks, and then Pontius Pilate, he represented the Roman. See, and Yahushua, he was took to Herod and Pontius Pilate. All right? Because you had the Greco-Roman Empire, which were both Edomites empires, and they both used the eagle. Greeks and Romans used the eagle. There's a movie called...
Yes, Greeks and Romans used the eagle as a symbol of power, linking it to their gods like Zeus and Jupiter. The Romans even used it as their legion's emblem, the aquila, representing the empire's strength.
See, and that's what America does. America, they operate under Rome. You got these different idols that were Greek and now Roman, right? Your calendar is named after Roman. Julius for July, January, Janus, all right? October, Octavian. Okay, these are names of Romans that were first Greeks, and then now Romans, and then now today they're Americans or European Union. All right, it's just a repeat. It's a repeat over and over again. And how did it work out? We won. We won. Let me Google it real quick. The Israelites won against the Greeks. Explain how the Israelites won against the Greeks. Oh, now I don't want to talk. It says the Israelites led by the Maccabees, which you can read about in the book of Maccabees, which was the Israelites, won against the Seleucid Empire, which Antiochus came out of the Seleucid Empire, which this happened after the death of Alexander the Greek, which he came out of Macedon. All right? A Hellenistic Greek state through a combination of guerrilla warfare and by exploiting Seleucids' internal political divisions. Do you see that? What is going to happen in America? There's political division. There's some that are for you not having civil rights. There's Edomites that want you to have civil rights. There's Israelites in positions of power in their own politics. These Edomites had put slaves in their politics. Why? Because they're at their end. We are about to rule the world. All right? And it says, this struggle is historically known as the Maccabean Revolt and is the origin of the festival of Hanukkah, which were in that time. But at the same time, you got to remember what happened now into the Romans, because we're under those Romans that were Greeks. Now they're Romans. All right? How did the Israelites defeat the Romans?
The Israelites didn't achieve a lasting victory against the Romans, but they did have some early successes. They used guerrilla tactics and strongholds,
Same thing.
even establishing temporary independence. However, the Roman superior forces and brutal tactics eventually crushed the rebellions, leading to destruction and exile.
In 70 AD, which I was under Vespasian, that shit himself to death, and Titus, his son. This is why you found Israelites in West Africa, which you put on slave ships, Edom, because they were running from the Romans in 70 AD from Jerusalem. The northern kingdom was already over here by the Babylonian, Assyrian ships that they came on. All right? So the history shows you, man. It shows you clearly who's going to be the victor and who's going to lose. Esau's going to lose and Israel's going to win. It's been prophesied since the beginning. You got one?
Yeah, this is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 17, and it reads, I'll read it from the NLT. It says, but Jerusalem will become a refuge for those who escape. It will be a holy place, and the people of Israel will come back to reclaim their inheritance.
Mm-hmm. Which that's what we're doing. We're not going back to the land because the land is defiled and occupied with counterfeits. We're just picking up this knowledge by the Spirit that's on the words of Yahweh, the Holy Scriptures, and telling you through the internet, which is literally like a river flowing out of our belly, but it's like an ocean of knowledge on the earth through the internet. Because there's so many people that see these videos and they're being either awoken to everlasting life as an Israelite that believes, or they're going into condemnation. They're being condemned. All right? Go ahead.
Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18 reads, the people of Israel will be a raging fire, and Edom a field of dry stubble. The descendants of Joseph will be a flame roaring across the field, devouring everything. There will be no survivors in Edom. I, the Lord Yahweh, have spoken.
It's his promise. All right? So I wanted to pull up one more. How did Rome fall?
Rome's decline was a gradual process, not a single event. It resulted from barbarian invasions, economic problems like inflation, political instability, and social decay. The Western Empire ended in 476 AD, but the Eastern Empire continued for centuries.
Because the Byzantine Empire, all right, which were Jake. We ruled Rome. All right? So it's happened so many times in the past. We get the victory. Why do we have the victory? Because Yahweh is our power. Now we're punished because we sin, but eventually the Lord allows us to come out of the captivity. All right? And it starts with us moving into the high levels of political power and eventually that kingdom falling. All right? Did you have anything?
No.
All right, with that, we give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ha, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule great millstone well, and shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel, Wa Abba Babal.
Shalom to the elect.
Shalom.
Yeah.